Hey everyone, this is Rob in the Abyss, and today I'm going to talk about Alfred Hitchcock. So, when I came up with this idea, I was thinking of different ways that I could go about this. Just talk about a bunch of his movies, or do a top 10 list, or something. I wasn't quite sure, but because I like to see your list, I like to see what my actors think, what they've seen, what they haven't seen, what they like, what they don't like, etc. I decided to really narrow it down and make it tough on myself and do a top five. And the way I decided to do it was not go with the staples. So, unfortunately, you're not going to see Vertigo. You're not going to see Rear Window. You're not going to see The Birds. I really like those films, but they did not make my top five. There's other movies too that Criterion has released from his earlier days, from when he was filming in Britain, and those were movies like The Man Who Knew Too Much, and then of course there was a remake in the 50s with Jimmy Stewart of the same film that Hitchcock remade himself. The Lady Vanishes from 1939, one of his last Britain films, is also Criterion, that's fantastic, and 39 Steps from 1935. So those were a few movies also that I really, really liked that didn't make this list. So before I get on with my top five, the cool thing with Hitchcock was that he was kind of ahead of his time in the way he thought. He would give us, spy thrillers, and then give us some film noir, and then of course he gave us those great mysteries. Gave us a little bit of everything, which was, ahead of his time with that, but also with the way he casted actors. He was one of the first directors who used the same actors multiple times: Jimmy Stewart, Cary Grant, etc. And that was just another way to show that Hitchcock was way ahead of his time compared to other directors. That's why he has a legacy. That's why he is who he is. So, without further ado, Rob Adams presents Alfred Hitchcock. At number five, The Foreign Correspondent. And what I'm going to do here is I'm not going to so much talk about the plots of the films, because either if you've not seen them, I don't want to ruin it for you, and if you have, you know what they're about. I'm going to talk more about why these are my top five. So, Foreign Correspondent was the second film he had done in Hollywood when he came over from Britain. It was done in 1940. It's a spy thriller, which goes right up my alley. I like it a lot. It stars Joel McCrea and a 19-year-old Lorraine Day. They're great in it. It's a great film. It's a great start. You really get to see what's to come with Hitchcock with this film. It was up for Best Picture along with Rebecca, which is another Hitchcock film, in 1941. So it definitely holds its place in film history. At number four, Shadow of a Doubt. This is 1943. And it's a film noir. And for those who know me, know I'm a big film noir fan. I love the way that they're shot. I like the mystery behind it. I like how they leave it till the end to really reveal where this is going. This film stars Teresa Wright, who was a terrific actress of her time. Her other big film back then was Pride of the Yankees, which was the Lou Gehrig story, starring Gary Cooper. She was fantastic in this, and she was a great actress, and a perfect person for this film for the time. Anyways, Shadow of a Doubt at number four for me. At number three, a little bit more popular, Notorious. This stars, of course, Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman, and Claude Rains. We all know Cary Grant, Ingrid Bergman. Claude Rains on a smaller scale. He was the Invisible Man in the Universal Monster movies. The second Phantom of the Opera. He was the dad of Lon Chaney Jr. in The Wolfman. So up until this point, a lot of his films were more on the monster side. So, this is 1946, and this is at the height of all three of their careers, and the way that they intimately entangle them in the story of espionage is really great. And Criterion's done an amazing job restoring this. This is a really, really good film, and that comes in at number three for me. At number two, the classic North by Northwest, 1959. So if you notice, these kind of have gone in order. Foreign Correspondent in 1940, Shadow of a Doubt, 1943, Notorious 1946, and now we're jumping to 1959 with North by Northwest. Cary Grant's wrongly accused of something, and he is on the run. And we basically get the scenery of the United States of America in the late 50s, which is really great. The screenwriter, Ernest Lamar, said that he wanted to write a screenplay that was going to be the Hitchcock picture that would end all Hitchcock pictures. And that was his North by Northwest. And it really is a terrific film. Little did Ernest know that there was a movie coming a year later that would outdo the Hitchcock pictures, which is going to be my number one on the list, which is the classic Psycho. And I know that I said that I was going to kind of go away from the typical Hitchcock films, but how can Psycho not be number one on my list? It is amazing. Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates is ridiculous. He is so believable, so strong. He is Norman Bates. And you know what's amazing? This film has stood the test of time, that even when you go on the tour of Universal Studios, they've redone that tour so many times, and they've taken away so many of the older movies and stuff like that, but yet they still will take you by the Psycho House. They still will use that as part of the tour. And sometimes they'll have like an actor being Norman Bates, and he'd be taking and putting a body in his trunk and then come at you at the tram. Like, it still has held the test of time. It is actually a classic film. And a couple years ago, I was watching the film with my son. He loves movies, as you all know, and he was watching it and was surprised by the end. That's how good Hitchcock is, that he leaves it suspenseful to the very end. And to me, Psycho really puts the exclamation point on his works. Now, there were several other great films that came after Psycho, but to me, that was the height, and that's why it's at number one. So, to recap, I got Psycho, North by Northwest, the classic Notorious, Shadow of a Doubt, and the Foreign Correspondent. I am drawn by great acting, and all those films have great actors in it, actresses. They're well done. The way that they're connected, the way that they interact, the way they are. But Hitchcock just is one of those directors who really knew how to put a film together. And there's so many to watch, but for me, these are the top 5. As I said earlier, go on the responses or the comment section and give me your top 5. Eric, I know you are a Hitchcock guy. Give me your top 5. I want to see what you guys like, don't like, etc. But that is my top 5. I'm a big Hitchcock guy. Go out there, watch some of his movies. Tell me what you think. Until next time, I'll see you.